So first of all, your skills have to be in demand in the region where you want to apply. The easiest way to start is by looking at online job advertisements that match your skills. Check if your employer is already familiar with the Atlantic Immigration Program. One way to do this is to see if the employer is listed as a designated employer on the website of the province itself. That'll make things easier for you as they already know how this program works. Then when you get the interview, you do well, you ace the interview and get the job offer. So if you're lucky, the employer is already designated as part of the Atlantic Immigration Program by the time you get the interview and the job offer. This is the best case scenario, and most likely the employer themselves will take the initiative to follow the procedure and hire you through the Atlantic Immigration Program after this. Otherwise, you may have to convince the employer to get designated under the AIP program. This will completely depend on the employer and how important it is for them to hire you. So one unique feature of the Atlantic Immigration Program is the effort taken to help you settle when you come to Canada as a newcomer. This is called settlement services. So the next step here would be to schedule an appointment with a settlement officer, and most likely the employer will make the first introduction to a settlement officer, and then you can take it from there. So here the officer will try to evaluate how much help you might need in settling down in Canada. Based on their expertise, they will tell you how you can prepare for coming to Canada and successfully settle down. This will include how to find a house, how to get around, checking whether your language skills are good enough for you and for your family, whether they need to arrange for language classes, how to enroll your children to schools, etc. So next is the endorsement process. The province will have a standard endorsement application form, and the employer will prepare the form, sign it, and then they will ask you also to sign it. Through this process, the employer claims that there is a demand for your particular skill and they are unable to attract local talent. They will provide details about where they placed advertisements and for how long and how many people applied for it, etc. This is an online process in some provinces like New Brunswick, and in some other provinces it is still an offline process and the employer has to send the application via mail. Here the candidate has to provide documentation such as education, credential assessment, language tests, proof of education, proof of work experience, and then the province will take 4 to 8 weeks to go through the documents and make a decision. Again, this might vary from province to province. So once the province approves the endorsement application, they will give you a letter called the endorsement certificate. And this endorsement certificate is valid for 1 year from the date that it was issued. Within that time frame, you must apply for a PR under the Atlantic Immigration Program. Now, if the employer wants you to start working immediately, even before getting your PR, which may take time as usual, then within the endorsement application, they can indicate that they also want a work permit support letter. And if the province is convinced that the demand is immediate, they will also issue you a work permit support letter. This is linked to the endorsement certificate and has the same validity. Now, the work permit support letter also has a condition that you should apply for the PR within 90 days of submitting a work permit application. That's because the Atlantic Immigration Program is primarily a PR program and the work permit is only a temporary solution while the PR is being processed. So if you have received a work permit support letter, then you can immediately apply for a LMIA exempt work permit. For applicants of the Atlantic Immigration Program, there is a specific procedure to upload the documents, and I will get into the details in a future video. You can apply for a work permit that is valid for 2 years as of now. It is expected that by 2 years a decision would have been made on your PR application as well. And in case a decision on the PR is still pending, then you can always apply for a work permit extension. So now, if you've applied for the work permit in the previous step, then you will have exactly 90 days to apply for your PR. The process for applying PR is quite well documented, and there is a guide for some parts of the application, and most of the documents are the same for the work permit application and also for the PR application, and we'll get into the details in a future video. So if you have applied for a work permit, then depending on your country of residence, the processing time will vary a little. For some people, it can take 1 or 2 months, and for some people, it can take 6 to 8 months as well. So after the work permit is approved, you can prepare to go to Canada on a temporary status while your PR application is still being processed. So once you arrive in Canada, you can start working for your employer on the closed work permit. And the PR application will be processed in about a year's time, and you'll be notified by IRCC on any status updates or any document requests. So that's it for this video. It's a summary of the Atlantic Immigration Program. In my future videos, I will go into more details of each step that was shown here. If you like it, then keep watching our future videos as well.